Welcome to Anibros episode 74. Some might be wondering why I'm coming to you like this, while others may have already guessed. Against our better judgment, we entrusted Laven with the duty of providing a laptop to record with, and we were thoroughly scorned. His famous inability to operate a computer is as present as ever, so the first half of this podcast has been lost. But the focus should not be on Laven's unforgivable misdeed. We are here today to bid farewell to the good Patrick, who is moving away, off to greener pastures in Idaho. In the first half of the episode, he spoke to us about his experiences watching Akame ga Kill, Blue Spring Ride, Glass Slip, Haikyuu, Invaders of the Rokujoma, Love Stage, and Momokyun Sword. If you're a longtime listener of the show, you can imagine that anime has left him in despair. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program, already in progress. Sayonara, Zetsubo Senpai.
Hey, come on down to Mustache Mondays, just behind the Rackin' Center on King Street. You can wear your mustaches to all those anime conventions, and then people won't know who you are, you creep. Come on down, Mustache Mondays.
Monday. Going straight to service back.
Get your mustache on. All right, on to the next awful anime that I saw, Nobunaga Concerto. This one takes place, it's a really lazy kid who's sleeping through class, I think it's Japanese history class, and as he's walking home, he gets up on a fence, and he's balancing a book on his head, and then, unsurprisingly, he falls off of the fence, and he wakes up in Japan, at which time Nobunaga is on a horse racing by him, and they look at each other, and the idiot kid's like, hey, you look kind of like me, and Nobunaga's like, yeah, I guess, you know what, you just act like me, and he just rides off, and that was it. That was it. And then some people run up to him, and like, Nobunaga, what are you doing in different clothes? And you talk differently. Come on back to the castle. And he's like, what are you talking about here? And just everyone's like, man, this guy's acting a little strange, talking about how he's from the future and all.
Wait, how does a kid look like Nobunaga?
He just looks like Nobunaga. I don't know what do you mean. Like, if we went back in time and George Washington was riding by, and he looked over and said, hey, you look kind of like me, and I'd be like, yeah, I guess I kind of do. And he'd be like, why don't you try being George Washington? And he just kept on riding.
But I know what George Washington looks like, and nobody else looks like him.
And then some people came up and were like, George Washington.
Mr. Washington.
Revolution's about to start. Let's roll. And I'm like, well, I'm not George Washington, but okay. Valley Forge it up.
So in the first episode, before he goes back, is everyone constantly saying, like, wow, you look just like Nobunaga?
No.
So why does Nobunaga's friends and family believe that this complete stranger is
Because he looks
him?
just like Nobunaga. I don't know
Does he really?
What more you need. Yeah, he does. The animator said, copy-paste. Okay, now he looks like Nobunaga. But the main thing against the anime is the animation style is completely computer-generated, and it looks weird. I haven't seen an anime that's quite like it. There's one called RWBY, which was made by Rooster Teeth, who also made, was that Red versus Blue or Green or the Halo kind of TV show? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were making RWBY, and I watched a little bit of that and said, oh no, I can't do this. And then I got to this sucker, and I'm like, shoot, this is the exact same really weird animation that's like, you're almost there, but it's creepy to look at, so you're not quite there. If you just look at like screenshots or just watch it for like 30 seconds, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I have seen stuff like that. It's like Studio Ghibli's coming out with a TV show that's like that, but it's kind of like how like video game or anime video game cutscenes are.
Yeah,
Oh, it looks like that, like Final Fantasy or something.
not quite as good, but yeah, it's in that vein at least.
Well, like cell shaded then.
It's probably like
I
short
don't
piece.
I don't know what cell shaded means, but
Oh,
if
like okay.
all right, on to the next one. This one actually, Laven and I saw when we were bored at KomoriCon, and we went and said, I guess we could watch this anime. I think we watched like the third episode or the second episode or something. It was Blade and Sword. It's the one where every single female character, except for the main bad woman, was Boobs McGee.
Yeah.
By which I mean their only purpose for being there was to have large breasts, and that there was no like character development beyond that.
Had you watched? Oh, so okay. So that means you watched this whole show
Oh, heck
after
no.
Komori.
Oh heck no!
Are you deciding it then as a show?
I'm just going through all the shows I watched one episode of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these reviews are based on one episode. I don't watch the whole anime. What, are you out of your mind?
I shouldn't have expected that.
So in Blade and Soul, there's a woman and she's being chased by bad people, and she goes to some place where there's another woman with large breasts, and she's got a whole slew of thieves, and there's that one big fat guy. You remember him, Laven?
Oh, I do.
Oh, he was my favorite character. He was always having a good time, but then the bad people came and just like killed him, and it hurt deep down because that big fat guy was my favorite character.
Yeah.
Remember the one girl with big boobs and she had a gun and she
I
shot
certainly
it?
do. She was shooting at the one girl with the big boobs who had a sword.
Yeah. So I guess if you're into that, that's a show. I think there was a girl with cat ears. I mean,
I think there was, yeah.
That's pretty original.
It was really funny when I heard you guys talking about that, and I was trying to guess which one of those girls with big boobs fighting shows it was.
All right, on the next one, Ni Sek Ui.
Great. Perfect pronunciation.
Nisekui, I believe False Love is under the title. I don't know if that's season 2 or if that's season 1, and they just...
That's what it means in English, nisekoi.
Oh, that's Nisekawai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you know that off the top of your head?
Nisei is false, and koi is love.
Oh, okay. Well, what about koi fish? Or do they mean that love fish?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. The more you know.
Like, it's like Eskimos. They have like 100 words for love.
Anywho, in that one, there's a boy, and as a youngin', he made a promise to some girl, and he kept a locked locket, and she kept a key. And then when they got older, and I think they went to the same university, or they were going to do something, and they're going to unlock it and keep their promise or something. And yeah. So then now he's in high school, and there's some girl with long blonde hair he doesn't really enjoy. But then when he gets home, it turns out that his father, who's in the Yakuza, and the other crime syndicate, they kind of struck me as mafia types. They're like, look, we're fighting too much. It's hurting business. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to say that each of our children is dating. And that way, our crime syndicates will stop fighting each other for a little while. So the two kids are like, well, I don't know about this. And then they see each other and like, oh, no, not that person. Not the girl with blonde hair. And she's like, not the boy with blue hair. And, they don't really get along. And you get the feeling, though, that a couple more girls are going to show up that like him, and he's got to go on pretending that he likes her, and she's got to go pretending that she likes him, but they don't. And then at the end of the season, they wind up liking each other. So that's my prediction. And if that prediction comes true, then it was kind of a worthless anime, wasn't it?
It is. How much of that show did you watch?
1 episode.
Okay, you saved yourself a lot of time then, because that's all that happens in that show.
I've often thought with anime, if you can't predict the ending after watching 1 episode, you need to watch it a little more carefully, because those people are not known for doing real creative things.
Especially not in Nisekoi. I thoroughly did not enjoy the show because I didn't believe at first how stupid it was being, but it really is just like that stupid. He makes a stupid promise with a girl and who he totally forgets what she looks like. Because the thing is, all the girls who come in who fall in love with him, they all have keys.
Oh.
And he has a locket, and it's just like, how are there so many girls with keys?
Why doesn't he just say, hey, could I borrow that key for a second, see if it fits, and then be like, never mind, go on with your day?
Well, they all gotta...
That's the eternal question.
It's easy to see why they have keys.
Why do they have keys?
Because they gotta get in their house.
Oh, yeah. Maybe, well, huh.
They're all fancy-looking keys. So.
Oh, okay, then, well, there you go. They're fancy.
Well, all their
keys.
grandmas had lock boxes for them. Little jewelry pieces.
Maybe in Japan it's a tradition that all girls have a key and all boys have a locket, and when they're children, they have to make vague promises to each other that they should keep later in life.
No, see, it's all boys have a key and all girls have a chastity belt.
Oh.
And you have to figure out the right combination.
Maybe the Japanese folk got it wrong. Huh.
Well, they were trying to tell the story to us, but we just wrote it off as a bad anime.
Yeah, that was a bad anime. Next one.
Next on
Tona Ari no Seki-kun, the master of killing time.
Seki!
Seki-kun. He's the master of killing time. And it's about a boy and a girl who sit in the back left of Japanese class. I've noticed something about every Japanese classroom.
Yeah. Sure. What is it?
Okay, one, if they're in a magic school, it's stadium seating, and there are windows in the back. The windows in the back, there's someone teaching up front. But the normal Japanese classroom, it's flat. Everyone's in a grid, and there's a teacher up front, and there is always the windows off to the left, and the two characters almost always sit in the back left, far back left.
Always.
That way they can sit back there and chat, and you can hear the teacher up front droning on in like broken English as they're trying to teach English class, which is for some reason a favorite time for characters to talk. And also you can look outside and see like some girl's hat falling down, and then that starts off the episode where you have to find the girl whose hat fell. And
it fell into the baseball club's field is right below, and they're always training.
You look out there and you see that one girl as she's stretching to go run.
Yeah, the pool is right next door, and they're all about to go on a swim lesson.
Does every Japanese school have a pool?
Probably not every single one.
Probably.
You think every one ever?
Every high school, probably, yeah.
It's possible, yeah.
That just seems expensive. Why do they all have pools?
For the pool episode?
Well, a lot of colleges have pools, so they must just think of it the same way.
Colleges are a little larger.
There's a lot of people in Japan, like in cities.
There aren't a lot of kids in Japan.
Well, that's true now.
There probably aren't a lot of high schools.
There were a lot of kids.
There's North High.
When they made the pools, there were a lot of kids.
The one girl, she's trying to do work, kind of, and she always looks over on the boy. He's always bored and is making something. I think in the first episode he's doing dominoes, and they get pretty wild, and and the whole time she's like, you can't be doing dominoes, and he's always just quietly like got his tongue out, and he's just like, yeah, I'm got it right, I'm brown, and then he clicks it, and it's like going, I don't know, towards a rocket, or each episode is going towards something, and she's like, no, and she stands up, and then the teacher's like, what are you doing? And then she looks back, and he's got his whole desk is cleared off, and she's the one in trouble, and he's the one who played dominoes during class. And she's like, oh, we'll get you next episode. And yeah, they're all like 5 minutes, aren't they?
Yeah,
you've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
No, they're like 5 minutes.
They're like 10 or 15.
Yeah,
okay,
10.
we'll split the difference, 10. That's how we get facts on this show.
I guess so. I guess we just all
split the difference.
I guess we all agree it's 10.
It's 10.
All right, and the final episode, final anime.
What did you think about Seki-kun? You just sort of described it. What did you like it?
No. But it wasn't real bad.
Okay, that's okay.
It was short, so I guess if you're like sitting around and need to waste 10 minutes, you could watch it because they have nothing to do with each other, and you can be like, oh, look at this one, he's balancing brooms on his head. Oh, that's pretty wild, and once that's over, you go off on your day. You certainly wouldn't want to like just watch a whole slew of them in a row. That'd be kind of pointless.
Oh,
So,
that's like the way I wanted to watch it.
oh, you're like, oh, I wonder what he's going to do next episode.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. He's got some marbles.
He's got something crazy every time, and I'm always curious about what it's going to be.
It's the kind of thing that you just can't put down, like a good book.
Indeed.
That has no plot whatsoever.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen next episode. I guess he's going to take his shoe off. All right, that's pretty wild.
It's like those Game of Thrones
Oh,
books. What's he going to do next episode?
Last anime, Blade Dance of Elementers. I gave it the most unoriginal plot award, if you remember. Just every minute they fit in a trope. I kid you not. I just think someone must have been sitting down and pitching this to someone else, and the guy was like, did they copy that from some? I mean, it just sounds so familiar. Like, all right, let me set the stage for you, okay? We're out in the woods, and some girl's taking a bath out in the woods in a pond, okay? And you'd probably be like, well, is it cold? And you're like, no, it's okay, because it's in the woods. I mean, it'd be cold. No, it's okay. Anywho, some guy comes by and he's like, hey, ma'am, I'm sorry for looking at you, and you little girl, and she's like, I'm not a little girl, I'm 14. And he's like, oh, I didn't. Your breasts are so small. And she's like, I'm angry, and she gets out her little fire whip and she starts whipping it around with her eyes closed. And then she does something and a rock almost falls on her, and he jumps and pushes her out of the way of the rock. And then they're both of them, they're like, their eyes are closed, but then they slowly open and they're looking at each other, and she's blushing. But then he realizes his hand is accidentally bent on her breast this whole time, but he just now realized. And then she gets really angry and she shouts, and the camera zooms up. That's a good intro, right? I mean, that's original, right?
Don't steal that.
So, yeah. Turns out she has a fire cat that's on fire, and
Okay.
it fights. And
It's not like a Hellcat. It's like a fire cat.
Yeah, and then he gets a sword that can fly around. And,
The sword can fly?
Yeah.
I feel like the sword needs... It's too plain. What else can the sword do?
You'll find out.
Is it also alive?
You'll find out. That's coming up. Well, anywho, he's walking with her, and it turns out she goes to a magic school, an all-girls magic school.
Yeah. There are several of those out in the country.
He knows the head mistress, who has large breasts, and she's invited him because he's like the only male who has magic. So he's going to now go to the magic school. And as it so happens, he got placed in the same class as the Sundre character he meets off the bat. And it just goes downhill from there, basically. That sword of his, it turns out it can turn into a little girl, like a lolly character who's oftentimes naked.
Good.
Originally, he has a little shack, but it gets burned up when Crazy Girl is using her fire whip, and then he has to go stay with Crazy Girl. There's this great scene where, like, every episode, they have a quota of, like, we need to have, like, this much fan service. Someone's got to be kind of naked at least once, and you just know it. So I was watching, I think, the second episode, and... he's like, all right, I'm going to chop some onions. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go take a shower. And I'm like, is he going to fall in there or something? And it turns out a water monster is attacking her, but it's just like bubbles and water, and it doesn't look like it's hurting her or anything. But she has to come out, and it's like, the water attacks me. Oh, no, the water. And so he goes up, and he pushes the water off of her, and then they're staring into each other's eyes, and she's blushing, and he's like, hey, dry this off. But unfortunately, earlier when he was cleaning up, he accidentally took one of her panties and put it into his pocket, but he forgot about that, and he takes it out and gives it to her like a handkerchief, and then she looks down like, "Oh, you took my panties!" and she shouts, and then the camera zooms up, and it was pretty wild.
Does it show the house on the horizon when this camera pans to the sky?
No, just clouds.
Just clouds? You don't see
clouds.
the tip of the roof? Sometimes you do that.
No. That'd be outrageous. And that seemed to keep happening every episode. Like when the sword girl turns into a girl, he wakes up because he's just gotten out of a big battle, and he's like, "What? Something is under the covers," and he throws it off. And there's this naked lolly girl under there. And he's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Hi, master." And then the other girls happen to pop in at that moment to see how he's doing. And they get angry and they shout. And then the camera zooms up.
Does it come back with like a slightly pinker hand mark on his face?
Yeah. Maybe like that really big bump on his head.
Maybe
that
a cross-stitch bandage like right on the top, but it's sticking up and barely stuck on.
Yeah. To say it has tropes would be an understatement. It was painful watching this show, and just every episode someone just jammed in as many tropes as they could jam. I was showing Jack the wallpaper for the show. It doesn't even have the main character. It's just like the main girls. And they're like, "Look, people, we basically made this show to sell little keychains." And this is what I'm speculating. In the future, they are going to make anime and just give it away for free so that they can then sell the merchandise of the various little chibi girls. And that's what you're going to be watching, is just advertisements for little girl chibi keychain things.
Patrick, that's already how it is.
Yeah, but the anime usually isn't free. They're still trying to make money off the anime.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can see at least why she was bathing in the waterfall if there's a water monster in the shower.
Well, yeah, but that was uncommon, and it never happened again. And
It's okay.
Yeah.
Explain that one part.
she did mention that she needed to purify herself for a ritual, but then they never went back to that ever again, or mentioned it or brought it up. Even when she got other things that you would assume would require that purification, they didn't.
I think they should go through every bad anime and then rewrite the script to every question that comes up, or like, why is she doing that? You come up with an answer for it in the canon, and then re-release the story. So that way, every question that a normal audience member would have gets answered in a really dumb way.
It's like, why does she need? Because we need her naked once an episode. That's why, chump.
Or just like, no, well, something in the story itself, like because the Loch Ness monster out there in the lake. Anyway, and then you never talk about it again.
Yeah. I will give it this. There does seem to be a bad girl who kind of appears occasionally and laughs, and it's like, "Oh, I will, do something," and she says hi to the main guy character, and then he stares at her, and everyone is like, "Do you know her?" And he's like, "We go back," but he doesn't talk about it anymore, and you're like, "Oh, I bet he'll bring that up later," because she's the main bad character, and she's up to no good.
Is she scantily dressed?
Oddly enough, no. She's kind of normally dressed. Most of them are, for the most part, in their school uniforms, except for the little lolly girl. She's oftentimes naked.
She's oftentimes naked trying to get the guy in trouble.
What about the teacher? Does she have large breasts?
I don't know about the teacher. They don't really show her a lot. Just the headmistress. She seems to have the large breasts.
She's got some big ones up there, doesn't she?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm... Chicken licking good.
Finger licking.
Oh, it is finger licking good. Dang it. I heard the traditional Japanese Christmas meal is KFC, and you have to order a month in advance if you want your wings.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's where Kenny ate.
I hope not. I sincerely hope not.
I can't remember if he told me that he waited in line or he saw a bunch of people waiting in line.
For an American to go to KFC in Japan.
And he was like, "Oh, you can't get KFC just anywhere." Madness. So yeah, those were all the terrible animes I'd watched. and they were just so bad, especially Love Stage. And I'm like, you know what? I made a promise that I was going to watch at the whole first episode, and you just sit through them and just be like, Japan, try to make something good. Try to like think of an original plot and then make that. Don't be just thinking what will sell little keychains. Heck, just rip off good movies, good American movies, and then just boom. How about this? Gladiator, the movie?
Uh-huh.
Make that into an anime. That would sell like kettle chips, wouldn't it?
It'd sell like kettle.
It would sell like kettle chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very well.
I mean, heck, like once every 3 years, something like Attack on Titan comes out that has an original plotline, and everyone goes bonkers for it. I think, why don't other anime maybe try that? Like, hey, no one's really done something like this. Every single time people do this, it does well.
Why doesn't everyone do that and just make everything they do successful?
Let's just play it safe, guys. Let's just play it safe. But even just normal, like, shouldn't you have like, the spy anime or the buddy cop anime or it just seems like a large number of genres that I would find as kind of normal sitcom-y type things. No, they don't really have that.
Mm-hmm.
That was just me complaining. So yeah, before I was leaving the Anibros, I just want to let you know, anime's bad. Just unsubscribe from this podcast and stop watching anime. Stop wasting your time. I've held my tongue for too long.
All right, well, nice plug.
Make sure not to cut that last part out,
Maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of remember you saying last time we talked that one anime you watched and you really liked.
Oh, yes. I almost forgot. Thank you, Jacko. The one anime I watched, and I'm going to give my stamp of approval.
The Patrick Stamp. This is a very illustrious award.
Anime of the year is, drumroll please, Attack on Titan. Wait for it. The abridged series on YouTube that several kids made. Top notch. Truly hilarious stuff.
It's pretty good.
Both of you have seen it, right?
Yeah, I have.
Whoa. What was that sigh?
I thought you were going to name a real anime and not just one episode that's on YouTube of people dubbing over an anime.
Well, it is a real anime, so I'm not sure what you're getting at there. And to be more specific, it's the best anime. Is this another one of your, is Avatar: The Last Airbender really an anime? Because that's a great anime, okay?
Yeah, but this is just a cut-up version of something.
It's a better version, and it's funny, and they do stuff with it, and it's good. I mean, if I didn't do this, I'd have to pick, like, I guess the one with the girl with big boobs, I guess that was okay. I mean, they had a sword in it, and they were fighting. But my heart wouldn't be in it. That was the best anime I saw all year, so I got to give it to that.
All right.
That and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood,
That wins anime of the year every year.
Yeah.
From now on. It's just the standard by which all anime should be compared. So each category and award ceremony, this is like, is it better? That's the box on the judge's sheet.
It's like wrestling. It keeps the belt unless something beats it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, you have to win it back from the challenger.
All right, lads, you want to give me any words of advice before I head off?
Eat some potatoes now while you can.
Well, I'm sure I can eat potatoes in Idaho.
I think they're pretty rare, Patrick.
My grandmother picked potatoes not too long ago out of some guy's field.
Well, she's a thief.
No, he okayed it. When in the corners where the machines can't really get, or sometimes the really small ones right on the edge, they'll let you pick those because they can't get them.
Eat some corn while you can, because maybe they don't have enough corn over there and just potatoes.
Yeah, just
Green
diet of potatoes and some more potatoes.
That's all they have. It's like Ireland.
Maybe pet a beaver before you go.
I see nutria all the time. I hardly ever see beavers. I don't know if the entire time I've been here I've seen a beaver out
Oh,
in the
there's a bunch
wild.
up in Lions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they make dams in the creeks.
That'd be cool. I'd like to see that. I wish you told me that a couple of years ago, but all right.
Well, you should have mentioned casually that you've never seen a beaver.
Well, I've seen one in the zoo, but not in the real life. Also, another thing I've never seen that I hear people talk about all the time are possums. I think they're more nocturnal and kind of in the countryside, but I've never seen one.
You see them when they're ran over on the road.
Yeah, I keep hearing that, but I haven't even seen them then. What can you do? What can you do?
Just keep on watching anime.
Well, don't do that. You got any new anime coming out next season that either of you got your eye on?
I did a glance over, and I remember there being a couple things that I was excited for.
I think there's a couple shows about some people trying to start a club in high school I might check out.
Yeah,
Probably.
that sounds good. Let me just read you one at random. All right, here's one. The Symphonic School battle action story follows a boy puppeteer named Rashkin who
Rashkin.
travels from Japan with his female automaton, Yaya, to study at the highest institute for machina art, the craft of making automatons. A combat tournament at his Walpurgis Royal Academy in England determines the top puppeteer, or Mao.
What the hell?
How does that sound pretty good?
Yeah.
So it's battling puppets?
That sounds awesome.
Well, it's about a puppeteer, and he makes automatons, which is a fine-looking woman, then apparently they fall in love.
She must be a
something.
puppet.
Wait, did I hear something about a tournament? Or
Yeah, a tournament of puppets.
Yeah, there's a tournament in there.
It's going to be
maybe.
like Yu-Gi-Oh!, but instead of a card game, it's puppeteering.
Actually, now that I'm looking at this more, I'm kind of wondering if I'm not looking at an old thing, because we watched that. We also watched Diabolic Lovers with the one girl and all her brothers are vampires and
Yeah.
are trying to rape her and such. All right, let me try one more time. Okay, this one looks newish. Girlfriend Beta is an anime adaptation of a social romance simulation game. That's pretty original. Is another anime adaptation of a video game where the character has a girlfriend,
Yeah.
But I thought I just read off another anime that sounded exactly like that.
well, I mean, different companies have their different takes on the video game. It's a very deep game.
Oh, okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, I like how most of these anime are like based on card games.
Yeah. It's fall. Maybe it's just like a new season.
They're always the ones that no one ever watches or ever realize exist.
Oh, Gundam Build Fighters is also coming out.
Glad you were able to find that one.
Did you even watch the last two?
I watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes of the first season. And also that OVA thing that came out before it.
They have a second season to that bicycle racing anime.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's good. It's good stuff. 5 girls chase their dreams. This story revolves around the everyday troubles and hardships that occur when working in the anime industry and the results and conflicts that happen day to day among the group of girls. Here's my question. It seems like a whole lot of anime are like a lot of creepy otakus watch this. Let's just make our main character a creepy otaku who watches anime all the time, and his parents and other people are trying to get him to do stuff. And then a lot of great things happen to him. And you're like, yeah, that'd be good. Get him walking on a fence, bouncing a book on his head, and when he falls over, he's now in ancient Japan. Boom, you got yourself an anime.
You should be writing these down.
And then burning them.
Yes.
You could be the American anime.
My word, there's not a looker in the bunch, I tell you.
I'm really upset about this new Tenchi Muyo.
Tenchi Muyo? Did you watch the first one?
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it how the girl's trying to, get with her nephew?
Well, I didn't root for her. She was the worst one.
Who'd you root for?
Oh, the space pirate every time.
Isn't she the kind of wild woman who's not really socially refined?
Yeah, that's right.
Does he wind up with her?
It's a spoiler, Patrick.
will spoil it.
It's a 20-year-old show. Maybe some people haven't seen it.
Here's my guess. He doesn't get together with any of them.
That's a good guess.
The traditional harem ending, and they're like, oh, I guess you'll just have to watch the next 7 movies, and even if you do that, you're like, yeah, he's still not with any one of them, so what's going on here? Are you going to finish it up soon, or what?
I bet he has a special moment with each of them, though.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Oh, he does.
Well, everyone, those are the stories of the evening. Hopefully you're able to rest your weary heads and dream of better dreams. Good night and good luck.
He truly was the good Patrick.
All the way to the end.
The Anibros was filmed in front of a live studio audience.